friends, welcome in. You have reached Anna Marie at Just Stamp. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'm going to show you how to make a perfect custom gift box for the Bath & Body hand sanitizers. This is the mini version. It's perfect for purse carrying, and the little box has been designed to specifically fit one little mini hand sanitizer. It's a great gift for bridal showers, baby showers. It's a nice teacher appreciation gift and any kind of party favor. So it's pretty simple to make. I'm going to show you with just a few tools how to make the box. And I am showing you a gift box using the prized peony bundle. It includes the stamped images for the beautiful flowers, and this is a distinctive stamp set, which means it has a lot of dimension already built into the stamp. With one inking, you get a beautiful impression. And I'm also going to be using the coordinating dies that go along with the prize peony. They're called peony dies, and I'm just going to be using the one smaller peony along with the small die. For paper, I am using the Petal Pink cardstock, and I'm going to need a scrap of Whisper White, and I'm also going to be using the square vellum doily. For the tools, we will need the Stampin' Trimmer that cuts and scores at the same time or on the same tool. I am going to be using the Trio Punch that includes a corner rounder, and I'm going to be using a 1 3/4 inch circle punch. So those are the basic tools. You will need your bone folder and some adhesive. So let's go ahead and start up by cutting the basic box. I'm going to extend my trimmer to all the way out to the full ruler. I'm going on the 8.5 by 11 inch cardstock. I'm going to rotate it. I just need 6 inches of that cardstock. So the cardstock to start will measure 8.5 by 6 inches. So I'm going to remove the leftover scrap. We're just working with the 8.5 inch piece, and I'm going to start by scoring it on the long side. And the first score, I'm going to push it over here to the beginning, starting at 0. I'm going to push it up to 2.5. And I'm going to be really careful to use the scoring blade, which is the lighter blade. Score down. I'm just going to push it up to 4 inches. The next score is going to be 6.5. And one more score on the long side at 8 inches. I'm going to rotate it, and starting at 0, I'm going to bring it over to 1 1/4. So just between the 1.5 and the 1 inch. I'll next push it up to 4.5 inches. And one final score at 4 3/4. Now I am going to rotate this. I want it rotated so that I have the 2.5 inch tab up at the top. So I'm going to push that up, and I am going to push the paper over to, oh dear, let me flip this over. I think I need this side. What I'm doing is leaving just the back fold over flap. So I'm going to push it up, and I'm going to be removing this band all the way across the top from the 4 1/4 inch mark up. So I just want that back flap. That's what I'm trying to get to. And actually, maybe I'll try it this way. So I'm going to bring it up to, right now I've got my 1 1/4 and 1 1/2 inch scores up here. I'm going to bring it up to the 1 1/2 inch score. So on the other end, it's going to measure 4 1/2, and I'm going to trim off. So I need my trimming blade, and I'm only going to cut up to the 6 inch mark down on the long side. So you'll see, I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to cut up to 6 inches. And what I have left is just that 2 1/2 inch flap up at the top. So this part also is going to be eliminated. I can take my paper snips and just remove that completely. At this point, you can move aside your Stampin' Trimmer. And I'm just going to remove this one piece that's up at the top. Cut that off completely. There we go. So now I have my basic box foundation. I'm going to go ahead and trim off the corners up here at the flap. So I'm going to bring in my trio punch. I'm going to make sure that I've got the right tab on here. This punch can punch 3 ways. It has the corner rounder, it has a little flower, and then it has a slot. So I want the corner rounder. I'm going to go ahead and put in my cardstock and just punch down. You'll see I got my rounded corner. I'm going to fold that over. I want to round that corner as well. And just so a tip on punching here, if you lean on the center of the punch, it comes down a little more easily. So now I have my rounded flap that is actually the back of the box. It's going to fold over to the front. The next thing I'm going to do is take my bone folder and just burnish along all of those score lines that we created on the paper trimmer. There's my 1/2 inch score. I'm just going to keep folding it up on each one of the scores. And once we have scored the cardstock, it begins to look a little bit more like a box. So I've done all of the vertical scores. Now I'm going to come back up and I'm going to bring the base of the box up. This is the 1 1/4 inch score from the base of the box. And just a couple more burnishing. I'm going to come over and fold the back flap down completely, score that down. And I'm also going to bring in that 1/4 inch score that helps create a little bit more depth for the box to house the hand sanitizer. All right, so I've done all the scoring and you can kind of see how it's taking shape, becoming a little bit more like a box. This is going to be the base. So our next step is going to be to cut those flaps, and then we will be able to adhere it. So I'm going to cut from the base all the way up to the 1 1/4 inch scoring line. And so I'm just going to cut on each vertical score. So now I've kind of folded, separated all those flaps. I'm going to create some darts in here. So on the wider flaps, I'm just going to come in and trim off a sliver at an angle. I come over about 1/8, 1/16, maybe a little bit more, and get that out of the way. And this just kind of debulks the seams down at the bottom of the box. They won't be as bulky, a little bit easier to adhere and create nice sharp edges. So I want to do the other large flap. I'm just coming in at an angle up to the 1 1/4 inch score line. Okay, this final flap, I'm actually going to remove it completely, and I'm going to bring it in. You can see got a little bit of shadow going on. Let's see if I can fix that. All right, this one I'm going to remove completely, and on that 1/2 inch seam I'm going to come in and cut it at an angle. So cutting down, there we go. So now we have our basic box. We're ready to adhere and assemble. I am using tear and tape to adhere this box. Tear and tape is a little bit stronger, more aggressive adhesive, and what's nice about it is you don't need to cut. It just literally tears. It's a nice sturdy adhesive. So that's the side seam. Next I'm going to come in, and for the back of the box I'm going to start here putting some adhesive along the bottom. Also on the flaps, I'm going to come up just a tiny bit. And notice I'm going to skip the front flap for now. And I'm going to turn over to the other side. And on the front flap, I am going to put the adhesive on the opposite side. All right, so we've got our adhesive in place. The first one I'm going to secure is that side seam. And I'm just kind of making sure that the adhesive has some nice contact on the cardstock. I can remove that layer to reveal the stickiness. Fold that up, and I'm just going to bring these sides together right up to the scores. And you can see I've kind of got the basic box going on here. I'm ready to do the base of the box. So I start with the two sides, the two small sides. I'm going to be bringing those in. So I need to reveal the adhesive. Take off that little covering. And the first flap I'm going to bring in is the back flap. So we know it's the back flap because there's the longer flap there, and then opposite end is the back flap of the base. I'm going to bring that in first. And what I like to do to make sure it's secure, I'm going to go ahead and flip this over, get my bone folder, and come right inside and make the contact so I know it's secure. Now I'm ready to do the final flaps, the larger ones, and I'm going to reveal this adhesive at the base. It really helps to make sure that you've got good contact with that tear and tape. And then I need to reveal the front flap. So the front flap is actually the one you do last. That way you don't have any seams showing up at the front. It looks nice and smooth. So just close that up at the back. You've got your basic box. To give it a little bit of shape, kind of form some gussets at the side, I'm just going to lay it flat, and I'm going to pinch in, kind of force it to lay flat, and I even take my bone folder and just kind of burnish that down. So I've created some nice shape to make that gusseted box. There we go. And you can see there's my basic box construction. It's a little bit off there. There we go. And we're now going to create the closure for the box. So this is a self-closing box that is created with a little round punch. So I'm going to take my Whisper White. I'm going to use my 1 3/4 inch punch. This is oops, I'm going to try that again. It looks like I kind of chopped off the edge that's not so rounded. I came right up to another punch. So let's get a clean circle. Better. And then to decorate that little closure, I'm going to add some of the square vellum doily. I'm going to layer that over. So I'm going to create the circle that goes in place. I just put the daisy right into the punch, and I bring the bottom of the doily down. So I've got my circle, and right now there's not so much contrast, so I'm going to be sponging it in just a second. I'm also going to stamp one of the peonies to include on the tab. So I'm going to bring in my gray granite ink, And I'm going to stamp the smallest peony in the stamp set in gray granite, and you're going to see already it's a beautiful flower. With this distinctive style stamp, you can see all the shadows and all the texture without even coloring in the image. There is a die that coordinates with this stamp, so I'm just going to layer that in, and I'm going to bring it over to the stamp and the cut and emboss machine. I'm going to cut it off camera, so one quick crank through the machine and we'll have our peony ready to go. Let's see. Oops. I think I've got a little light missing. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so there's my peony, and I'm going to add some color to that with my Stampin' Blends. I'm using Petal Pink for the flower area and the Soft Sea Foam for the leaves. I'm going to go ahead and color these in. Really easy because that stamp already has shadowing in it. I'm going to add my Petal Pink to the flower. And this is really quick and easy coloring with the blends. Just glides on so easily and so pretty. No dark streaks. There we go. All right, so I mentioned I wanted to add some color to that doily, so I'm just going to come in. I'm going to take that circle that wasn't a nice crisp circle and use that as a scrap. I'm going to sponge some color onto the doily. I'm just using my Petal Pink ink pad and a dauber. So I'm just going to pounce some ink on the dauber, and then I'm going to pounce some ink onto the doily and create a colored doily. So obviously you could create any color doily that you need with your ink pads and a dauber. It just adds a little bit more contrast when you lay it onto your cardstock. All right, so I'm going to bring this in here, layer that on top. Now you can see there's a much better contrast with the doily once we've colored it. I'm going to secure the doily onto the circle using my Stampin' Seal. Whoops, I think not. That one needs replenishing. I'm going to take my multi-purpose glue, just put a little layer on there, put my doily right in the center. And in this instance, it's okay if I've got stickiness coming through because I am going to be adding my peony right on top of that. Before I add my peony though, I'm going to add just a tad of the shimmer ribbon, and I need to grab that from the craft area. You can see I have just a little tiny bit of that shimmer ribbon peeking out. So let me grab that ribbon, and I will be back to finish off the closure. There's the shimmer ribbon, and I don't even cut it. I'm just going to tie a little knot. That way I don't have to waste any extra ribbon. I'm going to be trimming it off anyway. So let's see. I'm just going to make a little knot with a couple of little tails. Bring in my ribbon scissors and trim it off. So less than 3 inches of ribbon. And I'm going to adhere this onto my closure with just one glue dot. I'm just going to grab a glue dot. This gets onto the circle closure. And I'm just going to add that peony with the Stampin' Dimensional. place that right here. So I've got my closure ready. All that's left is to attach it to the box. So to do that, I'm going to take one Stampin' Dimensional. I am going to push the box closed. So you can see I've got almost like a little triangular shaped box. I'm going to push that flap closed, and I'm going to put that Stampin' Dimensional right at the base of the flap. Once I reveal that, I'm going to go ahead and add my my peony. Press that down, and I have my self-closing box. So easy. And again, it's custom cut to accommodate that mini hand sanitizer. Let me show you another I created using the patterned paper from the Prize Peony Suite. And I did create other boxes. Let's see, I created a Love of Leaves box, perfect for fall. And I created a back to school appreciation gift for school employees, teachers, and staff. And this one's perfect because it includes a sanitizer that says thanks for everything. So easy to create a custom gift box for these mini hand sanitizers, and we know packaging is everything. Look what a pretty gift that will make, or a beautiful party favor, shower favor, with just a few supplies and some basic tools. Thanks for clicking in. For more ideas, you can check out my YouTube channel or skip over to AnnaMariePalmerin.com. That's the Just Stamp blog. Thanks for clicking by.